The biggest robbery in history. How billions were looted of Saddam Hussein. This is written by Vladimir Filipovic. When in April of 2003 the American troops first set foot on the soil of Baghdad, looters were already looting treasury of the central bank of Iraq, the fortress that housed most of the state money. When the soldiers entered the bank, they saw burnt doors in the central vault, which the robbers, in spite of the explosives and high firepower, were unable to penetrate. However, when the Americans entered the vault, they found out that this was one of the biggest robberies in history. During the night, from the treasury was taken out more than $1 billion. In other words, about 4 o'clock in the morning on the night between the 17th and 18th of March 2003, the day before the rain of projectiles showered Iraq. 3 trucks came to the entrance of the bank. From one of them came a man with a signed piece of paper. In the next moment, started transfer of $900 million and 100 million euros, nearly packed those small boxes. The robbery did not require weapons and explosives. The man with the paper was Saddam Hussein, head of the Israeli Defense Forces, and the document was signed by his father, Saddam Hussein. On paper, it was written that it is necessary to draw that kind of money so it does not fall into the hands of foreign occupiers. Once you get an order from Saddam, you do not argue too much. I later described it for the New York Times, for the senior officials of the bank, reports Portal Ozzy. However, despite all the efforts of Saddam Hussein, the Iraqi money ended up in foreign hands, money sent to Kuwait. When the Americans found out that a quarter of a state reserve cash disappeared from the state reserves of the central bank, began a general search for money. The greatest Pentagon fear was that Saddam will use the money to finance guerrillas war against America. However, their suspicions proved to be inaccurate very quickly when, in the villa of another of Saddam's sons, Uday Hussein, were found $650 million in cash. Americans believed to have found the most money from the bank. However, it turned out that there was only Uday's personal stock. The money did not disappear without a trace, and soon it was discovered several $100 million in one of Saddam's palaces. The money was compounded into the aluminum boxes, and in each there were $4 million in denominations of $100 American dollars, $100 bills. Americans were secretly sending money to Kuwait, where they were to be counted to determine exactly how much you have. However, the story that that receives the expected compilation. Official Washington, namely Deputy Secretary of International Affairs John Taylor, requested that the money be returned to the Central Bank of Iraq, but American troops in that country decided that they distribute it by their discretion, little by little. Saddam's pile of dollars began to decline and often ended in lockers and backpacks of troops, claims Regine James, author of the book Pay Any Price. Regine claims that Saddam banknotes of $100 ended in the United States as the soldiers sent money to their wives and girlfriends. More than $440,000 was discovered in the accounts of U.S. Army Major Richard Fuller, a Marine who was responsible for counting money in Fallujah. U.S. Army Captain Michael McEwen appropriated more than $700,000 during the period of service in the province of Ambar. While he returned to the United States, when he returned to the United States itself, bought a Jeep Hummer, and a limousine, BMW, said the New York Times. According to data that have appeared in public, a total of 35 U.S. soldiers have been convicted of a similar theft from the 2004-2008 years. Source and the website given to follow this up. And that's the extent of the story right there, but just click below to go to it. Thank you all so very much.